And that brings us to our final presentation. It comes from Professor Ramon Wyss, Vice President for International Projects here at KTH. He also happens to be a Professor of Theoretical and Nuclear Physics. Professor Wyss's presentation is entitled The Agenda 2030, Building Stronger International Relations for the Implementation of SDGs. Professor.
Thank you very much, Eric. So great pleasure to be here. Great pleasure to see so many of you. And I hope you can still stand with another presentation. I will have no slides, so if you see you closing your eyes, I just think this is a way to express elevated interest in my speech and concentration. So I want to speak about four things. And the first thing I want to address, which I think is a key to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, is people. I think it's much more important than money. Money is always needed, but what will drive Sustainable Development Goal is people. And what is key for the development people? I think there are two things needed. It's skills and passion. If you only have skills and no passion, you will not do anything towards Sustainable Development Goals. And if you only have passion, it will be devastating, what you may want to do. So this combination, skills and passion, and where does it come from? It comes from the graduates from the universities, are the key drivers of Sustainable Development Goals. I think the university have a key role in achieving and driving that development. And it also puts, of course, a task on ourselves, but also on our partners. I think that is number one. And with all respect to SIDA and research collaboration, I think education is a key here. Of course, we have to link research, education, innovation, but education will be the driver. Unless we think about education, what needs to be done in our universities, in all universities, and think about the number of all graduates leaving universities, what impact they can have. So that is number one I want to address. Number two, what we have heard about here is, I would say, a macro perspective. The macro scene, what needs to be done at the country level, bring all these different goals together, having them not interact against each other, going towards the same thing. What I want to address is a micro level. Is thinking, we speak about this nice word we heard, think globally, act locally. So students leaving university can affect their own environment, where they work and where they do their achievements, and can use their skills, and they will act locally. And I think for this, I will give you a couple of examples that we have been engaged in, for example, in Tanzania. One is that we had a group of students, they have built a small incubator, it's called Innovate, and they come to a village in Tanzania, and they built a windmill in the village, supplying some energy to the village. And the idea is, of course, that this is a way how you can build something with the tools that are around, the local tools, and it also brings capacity to your own students, to our students, what they can do, and it shows the villages that you can actually change your own situation. This has been done in collaboration with the University of UNDESA in Dar es Salaam. Another example is that we have seen many years working with ICT for development, what we call, where teams of students go to, for example, they've been working in the Serengeti, connecting villages with broadband, building a router from just components from the shelf, cost 1,000 part of what cost a Cisco router, solar driven, needs much less energy than a Cisco router, and has been capable to connect these villages, and these villages in turn connecting to a larger hospital if they want to have information on sickness and diseases and so on. So these are very specific examples how we can integrate education with development and with the Sustainable Development Goals. The last example is from this year, where we worked with the World Bank. The World Bank had something they called the Megawatt Challenge, when in principle you gather local stakeholders and bring them together and discuss what is really needed in your local environment to make a change. We were part of the discussion in Dar es Salaam, where it was conceived the largest problem Dar es Salaam had was actually water and sewage supply. So when it's raining, you have flooding everywhere, sewage and the drinking water gets destroyed, and you have other problems related to the management of drinking water. You have bad pipes, 50% of the water just leaks out, and so on. The way we worked with that, we eventually coached teams who come up with business solutions to solve these problems. The teams were mainly students coming from the local universities. They did their work on their spare time. So still doing their education, they collected money for the bus ticket, came to the meetings and developed their business model. At the end, 4 were selected. There was another round of coaching. At the end, 2. One eventually team went to Barcelona and presented their business model, how you could solve the water issue in Dar es Salaam. Actually, the team we sponsored or we coached at KTH was the team that won the Megawatt Challenge in Barcelona. But what it showed us very clearly is the drive of the people that is in Tanzania. This drive of the students, they can have a change. But it needs to be integrated into the education, that there's the skills and the possibility to really affect their own environment. The third point, this was local and global. So speaking about the local problems. The third point I want to address is how can this be done? And I think we see many partnerships between researchers and so on. I think what is key, somewhat related to this Goal 17, is that we need strategic partnerships. We need to work with university, between university, because what we need to do is integrate the Sustainable Development Goals into the curriculum such that students have skills to change and do something, like those students addressing the issue of water supply in Dar es Salaam, or bring energy, sustainable energy to a village in Tanzania. I think if students have those skills and see what they can do, this of course will bring the change. It will not only bring the change, it will also develop new business, it will bring social innovation, business innovation, and will drive the development. So we need to form a strategic partnership with our partner university where we discuss with teachers how can we integrate those sustainable development goals into the regular curriculum. If you are an engineer, what are my possibilities in terms of my engineering education to use my skills in changing the world, in addressing the sustainable development goals? That's something that needs to be done, and it's institutional task. So we need also this kind of institutional cooperation that is strategic. And for this matter, we actually developed a handbook for teachers that is called Guide to Challenge-Driven Education. It was inspired by meeting with teachers in Dar es Salaam 2 years ago in something that we call the Technology Transfer Alliance, in where we get the teachers and discuss how can we really integrate challenges into the curriculum, how can we drive institutional change such to address societal challenges into the regular education. So this book is given out, and we have been using it here at KTH, but also with our colleagues. Today I met the ambassador from Ethiopia, and we discussed there's big interest in Addis Ababa. I hope we will have a workshop with teachers there along this book and how really can make a change. I think the last point to bring this all together is, of course, also related to what was one of Sustainable Development Goals, is growth. Because clearly, by addressing the Sustainable Development Goals, you can say these are challenges. But from an engineering point of view or a business point of view, you could see these are the gold mines. If I go to my flat in Stockholm, I open the water tap and I have clean water, I don't need to think about anything. But if I go to the slum in Dar es Salaam, there is no water. What is the solution? There's a huge problem. So if you as an engineer or as a student, together with some others, can make a solution for that problem, you really can do a change, and this is really will drive business. So I think it's a huge opportunity for all of us. And to grab this opportunity, we of course need the capacity of our students and also capacity in Sweden. So we in Sweden need students that can work and have the opportunity to work with challenge-driven education in those countries where really these issues are burning. In the same fashion, we need to bring the students from Tanzania and these countries here to see how we work with innovation, with business development, and developing the skills. I think if we have these four things together, I think we can have a change, and we are very much eager to contribute to that. That was my message to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Wyss. And that's our final speaker for today.